So I guess you guys could pretty much read the title of this video. Pretty much, I am tired of Tony Ferguson getting his ass whooped each and every single time he steps in the octagon, man. I'm freaking tired of it. Tony Ferguson is a legend. I think that the UFC did a terrible job at pretty much maintaining his legacy going. Because he should have been retired like years ago, if I'm just being completely honest. And for some reason, he just doesn't let it go. He just doesn't accept the fact that this dude is like way past his prime. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, he just wants to continue fighting. And honestly, I respect him a lot for it. I respect Tony Ferguson a lot for it because he has that attitude that's like never say die. And I respect him for that 110%. But if we're all just going to be real about the situation with Tony Ferguson, it's the fact that, he's never, ever going to compete for the title ever again. Never again. I think that the UFC should have gave him, at least an opportunity whenever he was in his physical prime. A couple years ago, he was supposed to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, and we all know that that fight never came through. I would even be, nowadays an advocate to get Tony Ferguson that title shot. I mean, why not? This dude already has loss after loss after loss. Just give him a freaking title shot. Might as well, I think that his career pretty much isn't, it's not gonna take off anytime soon. That's all I'm saying. So might as well just give this guy a title shot. The title shot that he always deserved, by the way. Anyways, look, that's not what this video is about. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty, ladies and gentlemen, because we just gotta get to the bottom of this. How can we get Tony Ferguson back into, I guess, the spotlight? Because right now I feel like everybody's just making him a fool out of the sport, and I hate to see it because Tony Ferguson is one of those legends, and there's too many people out there that are talking out of their neck and pretty much saying that Tony Ferguson is a bum. You know what I'm saying? But look, how can we fix this? Look, in my honest opinion, we got some crazy freaking news, ladies and gentlemen. We got some insane freaking news recently. Cowboy Cerrone wants to come back. He wants to come back to the UFC. This guy is like freaking 40 years old. He's a freaking grandpa, ladies and gentlemen. And Tony Ferguson is a 40-year-old dude as well. Obviously, Tony Ferguson is never going to come back to fighting for the title ever again. If the UFC wants to continue making money off of this guy, let's put him in front of somebody. Right? Let's put him in front of somebody out there that pretty much is on some similar, I guess, scenario as him. Tony Ferguson is a 40-year-old fighter. Donald Cerrone's a 41-year-old fighter. I think that they are pretty much right here. You know what I'm saying? They are pretty much at the same level, could be at the same level. Obviously both of these guys, they aren't on their physical prime anymore, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's more of a fair fight. I think it's more of a fight that would definitely make sense for a lot of us to witness, and it's between two legends of the sport, man. I mean, look, I feel like the UFC definitely messed up, putting Tony Ferguson after, putting him in front of people that were, fighters that were competing for the title, fighters that were in the top 5 for multiple years, fighters that were trying to make their way into the top 5. You know what I'm saying? And we could all pretty much tell a couple years ago that Tony Ferguson just wasn't the same Tony Ferguson that we all knew and loved from a couple of years ago. So I think that if Tony Ferguson wants to continue fighting, if he wants to continue competing in the sport of MMA inside the UFC, we should definitely be putting him in front of people that he could actually compete against. And that's definitely not anybody who is trying to win a title or anybody in pretty much the top 10 who is, in my honest opinion, the who's who right now in the lightweight division. But that's if he wants to stay in the lightweight division. Of course, we know that he went up to, I think it was like 170 his last fight against Michael Chiesa, and he got pretty much rolled. He got rolled. It was a competitive fight. I know there's people out there that are pretty much saying that, oh, Tony Ferguson looked decent. He looked all right. He showed a lot of heart. Ladies and gentlemen, he got rolled. He got freaking slammed. He got choked out by Michael Chiesa, bro. One of the most, pretty much, one of the fighters in the UFC that's been one of the most inconsistent fighters pretty much in the entire organization. And this dude had a whole lot of potential, and he got rolled by him. I mean, need I say more? Need I say more, ladies and gentlemen? And after the news that Donald Cerrone wants to come back to the UFC and compete, in my honest opinion, I feel like that's a freaking amazingly freaking beautiful, a potential fight that we can see, and I would love to see Donald Cerrone come back to the UFC. I would love to see him come back and compete. You know what I'm saying? Donald Cerrone was a fighter that when I first started watching the UFC, I would tune in to watch all his fights. You know what I'm saying? Same thing could be said about Tony Ferguson, you know? And I think that this matchup would be absolutely amazing. I think this matchup would do wonders. It would sell. You could put this in the freaking prelims. It could be the main fight in the prelims, but look, I think that this fight has a whole lot of potential. I know that the UFC are always looking to get that money, right? Because it's always about that money with these motherfuckers, bro. Let's give the people at least a good fight. Let's give the people an entertaining fight. Tony Ferguson versus Donald Cerrone. That's something that Dana White should definitely consider, because I feel like a lot of people would tune in to watch that without a doubt. Without a doubt. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this potential matchup, Donald Cerrone versus Tony Ferguson. In my honest opinion, I feel like that's a freaking bomb of a fight. Yeah, these guys are old. These guys are way past their prime. You know what I'm saying? None of these guys are going to be fighting for a title shot anytime soon. They're not going to be in the top 5. They're not going to be ranked. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. They're not going to be ranked fighters, but this would be a great matchup. It would be a fun fight. Definitely a fun fight. Fight for the fans. And, at the end of the day, MMA is a fan sport. So let's go back to that. Let's go back. Let's pressure the UFC. Let's make this shit happen, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts on in the comment section below. As always, it is a pleasure. Peace out and have a good one.